Welcome back to Dow Twang. I'm Dave. Happy Thanksgiving to those, American Thanksgiving, those that celebrate that. It was last week, so it was off last week. And for everyone else in other countries and cultures, whatever kind of fall traditions you have, I hope that you're enjoying the season and the holidays, whatever that is for you. We've got people all over the world on here, so this is really teaching us something about not being so what's the fancy word in school, ethnocentric. Right? This isn't just a U.S. thing here, so I'm very grateful for that. I've learned so much. I have friends all over the world. It's amazing, really, what this has done for me personally, for someone who hasn't had the opportunity to travel the world a lot and things. So really means a lot. I just hope everybody's doing good out there. Now, this turnaround business, how many times are we playing a blues or a 12-bar blues or maybe a jazzy blues or something, and it gets to that last kind of rapid bunch of chords there at the end, and we're just kind of like, what was all that? And it seems like there's 1,000 different substitutions and stuff that they'll do over things like that, right? And there's almost an endless number of variations of chords and stuff to play over that turnaround in that kind of jazzier way. The one that we're going to work on today, and we're just going to work on one because I want to show you how to navigate that using some of the stuff that you're probably already doing. In other words, we don't have to account for every single chord tone and all of that, right? At the very end of that demonstration, I did a little bit of that where I kind of traced it more. I went, right, so that one was it was just right at the end, if you watch that demo again. That one is more of a jazz approach, right? There was even a couple little alterations, a raised fifth on one of the seventh chords or something, And so we can work on that too as we go with this stuff. But this is kind of an assessment. So the more comments you leave, the more you communicate with me about it, the better off we're all going to be, right? Because I have to kind of try to gauge where folks are at, right? If we just go in and do that, it's kind of like we're just trying to jump to the top of our pyramid and something without building some of the things underneath it, right? So, doesn't mean we want to avoid that approach, but don't be afraid of these things when they come up. And here's an example just in the intro and on the backing track. I'm just like, we're working out on this turnaround part. So I'm just going. Just 2 times from that one dominant, A7 to D7 or D9. Just doing that a couple times and going right to that turnaround. Back to the top of it, okay? So a couple things just to sort out here before we really get going. The turnaround is A7, F sharp 7, or you could call it the 6 dominant. Go down there, or you could go, or a 9. I did a 9 in the chord. It's also got still got that flat 7. It's a dominant chord. Then B minor 7. I can do that like that. Different options. The way I'm doing it, because it's just kind of handy, is. And then that E9 right above that. So numerically speaking, progression-wise, I would say that's a 1, 6, 2, 5. Now, instead of having to wait for the whole 12 bars, and then when it comes around, this is what I do. When it comes around, then I kind of freak out and miss it, and then I'm like, oh, okay. and then I jam around in my comfort zone for the next, part of the round of the 12 bars until I get to like the last 2 bars, and then I freak out again. And then I keep doing it. So a couple of pointers on what you can do. One thing you can do, and this is on my looper, is slow them down and just repeat them. Just to get used to it. I am completely exploring right there. Sometimes, sometimes it's hard for me to do what I'm asking you to do, right? This is not a channel where I prepare every single thing and I edit the videos and then I stick them in there, and it's happening right when you're watching it, obviously, right? So what I did is did a little bit of tracing. Maybe it's just triads, just practice the chords at first. And then just maybe. Just a little bit of movement like that mixed in with your chords might be cool enough to just kind of, be your routine for a while, right? I'm not playing a bunch of fancy licks over that turnaround. But in a full 12 bar, it would come after the, I don't want to take up a lot of your time with this, but let's just, then we go to the 4, might go like 1 down to the 6, 2, 5. 1, 6, 2. Okay, if you're not familiar with that and you play more of a 1-4-5 bass blues, you could do that too. You could go from the and just do your thing, the thing that you're used to doing, okay? So, in other words, you don't have to play an elaborate jazz tune or something to start using this stuff, right? And it's gonna come up when you're at a blues jam or something, and it's just a nice little way to kind of tag that onto the end, tack that on there when you're playing your own 12-bar stuff. So, throwing a few triads in there with it and stuff is cool. Now, here's the fun part. And this is where we're really going to get going on this. And thanks for bearing with me on that, because part of this is, again, I know that people are running away from this stuff. Like, the chords start going real fast right there, and not sure, it's weird, not used to going up there. So just sorting some of it out. But now it turns out that our old best friends are still in play here. This pentatonic. Listen to this. Well, I'll use the slower one. This is just on my looper, so it doesn't sound as good, but. Okay, you don't have to play all that chord theory stuff to play through this, but you want to take this step, if nothing else, on this today. Trust your pentatonic. Play through. Don't stop and try to analyze every one of these chords at first and stuff. Just do your thing and trust that intuition about the notes that you're selecting from those pentatonics. The reason I say pentatonics plural is sometimes it's more of the main frame of it is the minor. And sometimes it's more of a major pentatonic, which is going to add that major third for the A, the one chord. Okay. Now this is also a couple of other things that are going to be opportunities to exercise certain elements here of your game. The way I've got this set up, one of them is, alternating or being mindful of whether you're using that major third. If you want to, you can essentially swap out some major pentatonic shapes that you're used to for the A. When it goes to the D, D7 or D9, play that more focused more on the minor pentatonic. Specifically, that's for the A. When you get to the D, see that? I'm not using that one. So, that's that same as, okay, or all right. A couple little things that if you're used to this channel, you recognize that stuff. So that's something that you can work into this over the 1-4 portions. Okay, don't use your looper and stuff. Don't get hung up on staring at it and thinking about it. Just that aspect of it. That's pretty much all there is to it. Put the C sharp in there for the A, the one chord. When you get to the 4, the D7 or D9, skip it. Go back to the C natural and the D. Okay. The other thing that this exercise, this lesson should help with is leaving a big space where that drum fill is. It's not really a fill. It's just I just leave that simple drum beat on the whole time. But here's what I mean. See, I can really play around with dynamically with where that space is. Oh, we don't want the slow one this time. We want this one. There's that turnaround, then 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it starts again. D, A, D, turnaround. So much fun. This, and have fun with it. This is not a this isn't a technical theory thing here, right? When the time comes, put that in there, but keep it with the stuff that you're more used to until you get that swing, that that. I held the chords a different duration there than I did in the loop, but let that space really play around with that. Sometimes you can play right through it. You can use it as sort of a place to put a lick, and other times you can just completely stay out of it. Let me demonstrate that again one more time. This is a real important and fun aspect of this. Nope, I did it again. We want this one. Yeah, you know. Now, I'm going to leave that in there. Anybody catch what I did? I didn't practice what I preached, did I? One time when it went to the D, I hit that. It's okay. Maybe you didn't even notice it. Don't panic and run away from it. Just keep playing through. Because sometimes you just lose track and you just, you're just using a phrasing and it has that note in it. Technically, I don't want it in there over the D, like I did one time in there. And my ear caught it right away. But it's all good. I'm just going to, keep playing through. And, those accidentals or accidents that happen, that's how you train your ear, not just by playing everything right or checking it with the tab and all that. Then you don't get your ear trained, really. You just kind of get your eyes trained or something, or it's taking a lot longer for the ear training part to really happen. Okay. Now let's finish off here. Let me just give you a few ideas of other stuff to do with this in terms of, the soloing over it. Hopefully what we've talked about so far was enough for you to buy into the pentatonic thing, right? But you got to just try it, right? And if you're lost or you don't know exactly what chord you're on, fine, right? Just let your ear sort it out. So we already talked about that. So one thing, let's start with this. This won't be too tedious, but you got to do a little bit of work on this. Let's take this C sharp note. Okay. With respect to A, what we want to do is analyze that note with respect to each one of these chords in the turnaround. Okay, so it's A7. It's the third. A lot of times we slide in from one under. Or hammer. Okay. So for the A, it's the third, major third. What's that note C sharp with respect to an F sharp root? The second chord is F sharp dominant, 7th or 9th. So it's for F sharp, got to do a little poking around. It's the 5th. Interesting that right here, there's not really a 5th in there, is there? Right? That's why sometimes they'll put you can play that bass note down here, right? You don't need 2 roots. You get a 5th if you do it this way. But when you make it a 9 chord, there's that C sharp. Now you have a 5th in there, right? So it belongs even in just the triad, at the triad level to both of these chords. Okay, so this is going to be important here in a second. Now, B minor, wait a minute, I don't see a C sharp in there. That's kind of, that minor third of the B minor is that note D, but it sounds kind of cool. Right? Something's going on with that C sharp. Well, what is that note with respect to a B root? Right? It's a whole step above the tonic, the root. So it's the 9. So now B minor 9. Cool. Okay. You don't have to play that though. But you can feature that. This is going to start making sense in a brand new way for some of you all, not just because of this video, but because if you take the time to really start looking at things in this manner. Okay, we got one left. Now here we've got, well, what's C sharp to E7 or E9? Well, that's the flat 7, E, and then the D, it's the 6. So, nothing to write home about there, but it's, 6, that's not bad. It's not one of the common things. There's not a 7th or a 9 or a 3rd or something that you're, going to be, featuring all the time, but it's still going to sound cool. And especially with this next door neighbor right here, the flat 7 of the E, that note D. So now let's put the slow one on real quick. Sweetness. That C sharp is all over this thing. You don't end on it, you end on the tonic when you do that. Right, okay. See your ear, after, this is a long video. This is more of a guitar lesson here today. I mean, most of the videos are, but I try to keep them limited. I'm spending time on this today because, hopefully you're still with us. Right? You can run off after, the first 12 minutes or whatever. One step at a time. This is going to open a lot of doors for many of you. And I know a lot of you. I know where you're at. Okay. So, let's leave it with that. Alternating that major and minor stuff. And then just, put that turnaround on a slow loop or something and experiment. And man, you can't stay right in that. See, I played that. I used that major third, then I went and just played kind of a minor blues lick. That's what it's all about, man. That's that tension and release. You don't have to have a flat this and a sharp that on every single chord to get a lot of action like that. You just trust that pentatonic and use those little bends and slide into that major third at the appropriate times. It'll sound cool. And, use that break to really get funky in there too. Let me know how this goes. I hope you enjoy it. Appreciate all of you. Talk to you next time.